The big fundamental, old man Riverwalk, Timothy Theodore Duncan. He's back. He's back in his first locker room, and cool day it is. Tim Duncan, almost 3 years to the day that he retired, is now coming back to coach the Spurs as an assistant coach, and man, it's gonna be a lot of fun getting to see him and Pop interact again after being away for 3 years. Although Timmy's been at plenty of practice helping out the young guys. Um, it's just gonna be an incredible dynamic. I don't know if you guys saw, but Tim's or in response to hiring Tim, Pop's statement was great. He basically said, I was Timmy's assistant for 19 years. It's about time that he paid me back." And what a great start. And I think having Tim Duncan back around the team is going to be incredible for all the young guys. Helping bring back that Spurs culture. I mean, it's still there, but I mean, Tim Duncan has always been the culture. He's been the team, and to be able to have him around the young guys day in and day out, giving back and teaching them about the Spurs way and how to play basketball the right way, I think it's going to be beautiful, and just increases my excitement for this coming year with the Spurs. I think it's kind of comical actually, because recently a lot of projections have been coming out of the Spurs season. I believe 538 is projecting the Spurs to win 37 games, which boggles my mind because if you think about it, last year they won 48 games, I believe, and they're basically haven't had any major losses from the team last year. I mean, they did lose Davis Bertans, but replacing with DeMarre Carroll, who's a better defender. They get Dejounte Murray back this year. Lonnie Walker's now in his second year and looks like he's going to have a potential to produce this year. So without losing any players, projections are showing the Spurs are going to get worse. So yeah, riddle me that one. I boggles my mind. I mean, if you're the type that likes to bet, the Spurs over at any number less than about 47, I think is a pretty darn safe bet. I think most projections are in Vegas have them about 43.5, 44, something like that. Take the over every day of the week. I mean, this team is returning two really good players in Aldridge and DeRozan, budding young stars in Derrick White and Dejounte Murray, a super talented second-year player in Lonnie Walker. They've got some good veterans on the team, DeMarre Carroll. Jakob Poeltl's a really good young player, really good defensively, and I think there's really just a ton to be excited about with this team. I mean, it's going to be incredible. I mean, it'll be tough for Pop to figure out how to get everybody on the floor. I mean, they have so much talent, and with all the young guys, you want to give Dejounte his adequate burn, and Lonnie and Derrick and all that. And it'll be interesting how they juggle the guard rotation, specifically because you have older, more experienced players like Marco Bellinelli and Patty Mills on the bench who can provide that really needed shooting in some of these lineups. But I mean, when you have players as talented as White, Walker, and Murray, it's going to be really hard to justify for Pop to justify putting in Bellinelli and Mills over those two, unless he's just going for like a corporate knowledge at the end of the game. That being said, I think if Pop plays the lineups he should, which is probably leaning more towards the young three and White, Walker, and Murray at the guard positions, there's going to be a lot of growing pains. I mean, none of those three are great shooters at this stage in their career. I mean, we haven't seen Dejounte's jump shot in like almost a year and a half, 2 years, since before his ACL injury. And so it's really tough to see how good of a shooter he's going to be. I mean, you can't expect him to all of a sudden be a knockdown shooter from anywhere on the floor, but I mean, you'd like to think that his jump shot has improved. It seems to be, you watch YouTube clips of him, Derrick White is a capable three-point shooter, but he's not going to be mistaken for Kyle Korver or JJ Redick at any point soon. And Lonnie Walker, I mean, he showed great promise in the summer league, taking pull-up jumpers and stuff like that. Was maybe asked to perform a little different role than he would with the Spurs in the summer league, where he was really a ball-dominant player. You would think with Derrick White, Murray, and DeRozan on the squad that Walker's probably going to go a little bit more of an off-ball option. But I mean, there's so much excitement. It's going to be tough trying to figure out how to get everybody meshed together, especially when your potential best starting lineup with Murray, White, potentially Rudy Gay at power forward, and DeMar at small forward, and Aldridge at center doesn't have a ton of shooting. And so it's going to be difficult to figure out the spacing aspect of that. How long will the Spurs be able to stick with that lineup? I mean, Rudy can step out and hit a three. DeRozan hasn't taken any. Has Aldridge been working on his outside jumper? Um, Murray, at least a couple years ago when we saw him, was a little bit of liability. Teams would leave him wide on offense. Teams would leave him wide open, allow him to take those threes. White is a little bit better with the ball in his hands. But I mean, you got to think that's going to be the lineup that the Spurs are going to at least try out at some point this season to have their two great defensive guards in the backcourt. I mean, I think the Walker or the White and Murray backcourt is going to be one of the best defensive tandems in the league. And you combine that with now having Tim Duncan's coaching to help out. I mean, he's one of the best defensive players that we've seen in recent memory. Obviously, he played the post and was more of an interior defender, but he was a great team defender as well. And so having his insight and knowledge to help spread on the team, I think is only going to help. I mean, of course, Pop's always been a great coach, great defensive coach as well. But I mean, wow. I mean, adding Tim Duncan to mentor these young kids, I think is brilliant. He's already had and developed a relationship with the likes of Drew Eubanks and Shemezi Metu, and specifically has really latched on to Lonnie Walker and helped mentor and help Lonnie grow. And man, what a time to be alive. I know a lot of people in the national media are kind of looking down upon the Spurs right now, saying, oh, they're like fighting for the 8th seed. But I really think this team has a chance to compete and to fight for the upper tiers of the Western Conference playoffs. And in a league that's as wide open as it's ever been, I mean, the Spurs have the potential to make some noise. I mean, if you look around the league, the Rockets just swung, and we'll see if they hit or miss, but they swung big, trading Chris Paul for Westbrook. Will Westbrook and Harden work? LeBron and AD, I mean, super talented duo, but they both have injury concerns. They kind of piecemeal the team around them. Does it all fit? Will it all work together? Kawhi and PG, I mean, it looks like it'll be a really good fit. They've got some really good pieces around them. But, I mean, what is that going to look like? You're not looking at this year. There's no Golden State standing in the West to just knock down all contenders. And it seems like it could be one of those where we could have a somewhat surprise team coming out of the West. I mean, a lot of people think it's going to be the Clippers or the Lakers, but I mean, you really never know. So this is a great opportunity for the Spurs to give some of these young guys their run and just see what can happen. I mean, Derrick White showed flashes last year in the playoffs, dropped, I believe, 36 against the Nuggets. Dejounte Murray was second team all defense, lest we forget 2 years ago as the youngest player to make an all defensive team in NBA history. I mean, this team's got some real talent. Now, making it all work offensively will be interesting, but that's what DeMar DeRozan's always been great at. Thank you, guys.